Hi guys, how are you? How are you? Okay, so my laptop has failed. My laptop has failed. So I'm going to be using my phone. Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late. Allow me to just set up. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Can you see me if you're there? Please let me know if you can see me. And I think I need to rotate this phone so that it can. Okay. Hi everyone. Please let me know as you join in where you're watching me from as usual. No. Okay, so as usual, as I say that we if you're there and you're from the how would you call it, the women's group, the men's group, please share the link. I don't know, guys, can you see me clearly? Please let me know. Please let me know because I've rotated my phone. Okay, so let me use it. Benson Karibu. Benson, how are you? I am so happy to see you. So today I've started late, and as I said, I wanted to keep this very short and sweet. If you're there and you know a friend who stands to benefit from this, please invite them. Let us start together. As I said, it is mental empowerment that will help you. It will save you the cost of going in for therapy. It will save you the cost of, going through unnecessary pain. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Benson. Rose, thank you. I'm looking gorgeous. Thank you so much. There's someone who commented by the other day and said, Venus, wacha kukaribisha watu. Stop, recognizing everyone who comes. We need to listen, continuously to to what you're teaching us. I will try as much as I can, but I really love the way I've been brought up, the way I've been trained in life is to recognize people. Even when people come to our homes, we must recognize their presence. So if you're here, if you're from the women's group, please post a link. If you belong to the men's safe space, please post the link. Let us invite our friends. So today we are going to talk about the third pillar of marriage, and this is something that is a thorn on our flesh, in our flesh, because of so many things that it does to us, altering us, making us move on in life because of, twisted perceptions, because of, carrying resentments with us, because of carrying a lot of pain with us. And it is something that I always say, if couples can be able to address and to move past, this, I think the relationship stands a very high chance of surviving. Okay? If you're able to deal with the pain that is in the marriage, the unresolved conflict, because a lot of the times people, we see things and we sweep them underneath the carpet. Kitu inafanyika, you just sweep it underneath the carpet. You're going through issues, something else destructive comes in, you sweep that issue underneath the carpet. That carpet one day will start bulging. Okay? Because even that, can you imagine putting stones, putting what? It starts with dust. It goes to something else like a small container or a whatever. The next thing you're seeing something literally popping out of that carpet. So I always say, there is no use of trying to hide from problems. Come and deal with them head on. If you can put your face, and put this giant, Hiras baby, thank you so much for coming in. Karibu sana. If we can put a face, if we can put a name on top of this thing that is a challenge, and see how it functions, see how it attacks, see everything about it, then we can be able to literally bring it down. Now, what brings relationships down, guys? What brings these relationships down is because we want to hide. We as human beings, when you think of a baby, we are used to comfort. We want, when we cry, we get food. When we want to, when we're uncomfortable, we want to quickly, deal with it. Rose Karibu. So what we do is that when we have problems, we also don't want to face these problems. We want to run away from the problems, or probably quickly cover it. Why? We don't want the shame. You know, a lot of us, we are all about publicity. You know, my marriage is thriving. You know, you go and post your photo there. Things are thriving. But underneath that photo, behind that photo, there's a story. So for me today, I am going to help you to understand, first of all, why pain is good. Pain is good, let me tell you, because if you never felt pain, I don't think in many ways you would grow. Okay, so for me, I feel pain is very, very necessary. Okay, so one thing that I'm going to help you do is to understand why pain is good for you. And secondly, I would want you to also walk away here from this talk with that perception of there's nothing that can be too big. Okay, as long as you're using the right approach. And guys, what I would want to put in is underline right approach. So if you're here, I can see we're already 12. I am kindly asking you to call the people who are in the group. I know a lot of people are interested in watching this, and I'm not able, because I'm using the main phone that I normally use for my WhatsApp, so I'm not able to send the link. But anyways, because we've started late, we will just continue. Now, challenges become a point of conflict if they are not handled well. Challenges will always become a point of conflict if they are not handled well. Take, for example, if you have a problem with communication, one person communicates. You remember when you talked about the pillar of communication? One person, the sender communicates, the receiver does not respond. That again is a problem on its own. So if this is not resolved, it will become a point of conflict. Okay? Number two, when partners do not play their role very well. Now, when we go into a marriage, ideally what I say, we are going into a dance. It is like a dance. Whatever, think of any music you like, and you have a partner. You move, he moves. She moves, you move. Okay? That is what happens. You're in a dance. So if one person moves by doing their role, and the other person does not move because they are so relaxed, they're busy sleeping, they're busy doing what? Masi karibu, they're doing siju what? What is going to happen is there is going to be a level of frustration. Take, for example, as a woman, if your role is to cook, when you don't go into the kitchen and cook, it means your children are going to suffer. Cynthia and Peter Karibu, your children are going to suffer. Your husband is going to suffer. Like basically your whole household is going to suffer because in this dance, you're not playing your role. As a man, if your role is to provide for the family, if you don't provide, that relationship will suffer a challenge. And if this challenge is not solved in time, okay? Masi karibu on time, ndio tumeanza. If we don't solve this issue on time, it will throw the whole relationship into a series of conflict, okay? So what I wanted to say is that conflict is good, but if the emotions are not addressed during a conflict, there's normally bound to be a problem, okay? Now, why am I saying conflict is good? Because it brings out things that need to be undressed. Toanguo, removing the clothes. We are removing the clothes so that we can see where is this conflict? What is its origin? Where did it start from? So it's about undressing so that we can address. Okay? When you shy away from addressing an issue, there you go. Again, it will escalate to a point whereby what we are seeing now in the society, people taking very drastic measures against one another. Number two, it brings out the rules and roles of a home and how well or effective they are. Very, very important. When you're having those issues, you sit down. As a partner in that relationship, you will say, on my part, I did 1, 2, 3 things, and I believe I did it very well. You ask the other person, what did they do about that situation? So I like when people are in conflict because it brings out the rules and the roles of that relationship. If you're here and you just operate blindly without a map of your marriage, you don't know who does what, you're going to be a very frustrated person. One of the key things that I tell people who come in for premarital counseling is sit down, write down what your expectations are. If you want your man to do 1, 2, 3, put that down. Let him know. Give him something that he can work with. If you're a woman, on the other hand, ask your partner, what do you expect me to do? So that you kind of like minimize the kind of pain and stress that you go through unnecessarily. Do you know half the people who are in marriage want to get out? And those who are out there want to join. That is the sarcasm of life. Those who are inside the marriage, they really want, they're praying to get out. But those ones who are outside and observing, they want to get in. So it's so important to know that some of these conflicts can only be addressed well when we know how we are running that home. Like basically, there must be a plan, there must be a map to it. Number 3, these conflicts, when they arise, people, and I said conflicts are good, they are able to bring out certain issues. They are able to make you understand the other person well. Number 1, their temperament. Let me tell you, half the time we are facing issues in marriages, in relationship, is because we just don't know our partners. We don't know their strengths. We don't know their weaknesses. We don't know how they operate. So we are always being carried away by surprise. You have never sat down to know this person. And if you're new here, please go and check what I talked about when it came to temperament, because that is one of the very key pillars. Knowing your other person. It's like knowing your car. Your car can climb a mountain, well and good, yeah, it's a 4x4. But there are those ones who have very small cars, yeah? When it's hit, it will just like, become a write-off, okay? So you must know how fragile your person is. You must know how strong your person is. And this should help you to be able to deal with that person well. Number 2, for you to be able to also sort a conflict. And whenever you're in a conflict, certain things come out, like your partner's love language. Again and again, if you're new here, check out a video. Guys, I normally talk about everything and anything. There's a video I have done about the 5 love languages. So part of the conflict that you may find, rising in a marriage is because of the love languages. And during even those conflicts, sometimes our love languages change. So you find that probably initially your love language was words of affirmation, okay? But during conflict, what you need is touch. You see, what you need is assurance. So these things can oscillate, they can change, they can shift from one place to another. But at the end of the day, you must make sure that you do understand the love language, okay? Number 3, during conflict, that is when you get to understand expectations. Now, a lot of us, and I want to even include myself in this, a lot of us are carrying pain, a lot of pain. Guys, I've been here. I'm in a marriage. I know when things are not working, how it feels like. We carry pain because someone somewhere did not meet our expectations. Like you are there, you are waiting on them. You are waiting for them to come through, to fight for you. Because they are your number 1 support system. They did not fight for you. You are waiting for them to come and show you their love. When you needed their love, they were not there. You are waiting for them to show up. They were not there. So what that does, it makes you start having a certain perception about that person. And that perception is just clear. They don't love you. They don't care. So some of us may be very vocal with it. And they will say, okay, fine, this is what I did. But there are those who will go quiet and not say anything. Now, we are all different. But beware of those people who do not talk. Beware of your partner when they don't talk. I think for me, when just things hit the wall, I normally just go quiet. Like, I don't know, I never have any more words to say. I become unable to express. And yes, as I said, we are psychologists, yeah? Ruth Karibu Sana, we are psychologists, but we are also not perfect. So when you're looking at me, don't say, oh, Venus has her thing. No. I want to put a disclaimer. I also go through issues just like you do. The only problem is that sometimes I have more knowledge. I know how to probably deal with my issue without really necessarily running for support from a counselor. Now, anyone here would ask me, Venus, why do I go through pain? Why am I experiencing conflict? I'm always in and out. It's like a dance of, always madarau, today we are fighting against, about this. Tomorrow we are fighting about this. Key key thing, number one, gender brings in a very, very critical element in conflicts. Women think with their hearts, guys. Women think with their hearts. I say this over and over again. It is about the feeling. So if you're a man here and you're thinking, okay, my woman is always complaining, you must know how to address her feeling. Know how to address her heart. Because that is where her brain is. Inside her heart. Okay? So when it comes to conflicts, we will be dealing with, it is about how you made that person feel. It's not about, a man will come in and say, but I did this. I gave you time. I did what? Then they're thinking logically, okay? So the genders play a very critical role. So whereas a woman will be talking and will explode because, and the conflict will be so, expounded because of how she felt. The man will come in with a different approach. He's thinking. So conflict must be well taken care of, from that point. When you're dealing with your partner, don't just come and say, unajua unakuanga na kiherehere, you're always so sensitive, you're making me confused. Acknowledge that you're dealing with a woman. If it's a woman, acknowledge that you're dealing with a man. Start from there, the gender, okay? Otherwise, if you don't really recognize this element, you will end up very, very frustrated in life. And you will be piling pain after pain because you just don't know where to put the right energy. Number 2, temperaments. And by the way, before I move into temperaments, what I want to say, guys, is that, even each gender has a fear. Each gender has a fear. For example, men have a fear of failing. So whenever they're dealing with conflict, they can become very defensive, depending again on their temperament. Why? In our African culture, we are told that men are never supposed to fail. Men are never supposed to show their tears. And we have these things running our minds. So sometimes the conflict will always be there constantly because you're dealing with a man who just does not want to admit they have failed. Okay? They're struggling with that. So you're doing a back and forth. You're telling him, by the way, when you did this, it was wrong. And that is the nini. The man is there saying, no. So that fear of failure breeds some level of defensiveness. And if you're very defensive when you're corrected, it shows also an issue of self-esteem, guys. Let us not run from the truth. I am here to give you free knowledge. Know your person. Know how they operate. People who cannot thrive when they are told, their mistakes. It shows they have a problem. They have a problem with their ego. They have a problem. They cannot take in mistakes and work on them. They always want to feel like they're the ones who are right. So at the end of the day, as I said, each gender has insecurities. Women have a fear, and the fear is not being loved. Okay, so a lot of the women will always quit relationships. Most of the women will go even cheating because their partner is not showing them love. So these fears are normally part of the things that bring, the conflicts that we have. I will not go again into temperaments, but one thing that I can say is to add on to the point that I have talked about temperaments. Opposites attract, but at some point, this attraction is what now makes you fight against each other. What made you meet and fall in love is the same element that is going to make you fall out of love. So be wary, be careful. Okay, when you go into a relationship, and when I ask couples when they come in for marriage counseling, so what is this that attracted you to this person? Oh, he was so cool, calm and collected. And then during conflict, when he's cool, calm and collected, it is the one thing that will irritate you. So learn to know that. If you can just take note of this, that which attracted you to that person is one of the greatest things that is going to be against your relationship. It will be a very good point to note, because at the end of the day, when you're going through conflict, this will help you navigate through. Now, number 3, why do we go through pains? By the way, guys, I mean, why pain can really be uncomfortable. But allow me to bring something that is very, very critical here. Our upbringing has a very huge toll on the relationships that we are finding ourselves in. Can I say this without fear of contradiction and without sounding like I'm being biased? This is not my intention. As you know, I sit in as an expert and I want to bring things as they are. We are now dealing with Generation Z. Generation Z, very sensitive, very manipulative, very selfish, self-centered, name it. And what this is doing to us as parents, we are getting ourselves into a series of manipulation by our own children. Now, let's fast forward this kind of scenario and we take these children now to the next level where they get married. What is likely to happen in that relationship? That relationship will have conflict that will never be sorted. Basically, what I want to say is, if you bring up a child and you never give them the right tools and skills to sort out conflict, this person will grow, they will have beards, they will mature as adults, but when they get into their homes, they will have zero skills, zero chills to sort out issues. A lot of the time, I blame parents because of who they bring up. We bring up children and then we just throw them into other homes. Okay? So family background is so important. I have had people coming and saying, you know me, that is not, I just can't deal with this because when I was growing up, this is what used to happen. Even if I was on the wrong, I never used to be told, I never used to be corrected. Okay, you never used to be corrected. But now you're having your own home, you have your own children, yeah, so you need to shift from the fact that now you're in your parents' house. Now you have people who are under you. So we need to get rid of our mentalities of how we have been brought up. Life is about being flexible. We must stretch. Even our own brain stretches so that it can acquire knowledge. If you remain fixated on things, most of the time you'll find yourself in very uncomfortable situations that ideally you would have really managed through. Okay? So part of the pain that we inflict on ourselves, guys, is because our values are wrong. Okay? Number two, how we were brought up is wrong. Let us name things and call things as they are. So if you're a parent today, if you're a parent and you're listening to me, please, I want to encourage you. Kindly raise your child well, knowing that this child will be a spouse to someone in the future. You don't want to be dying of heart attack because your children are always in and out of your house, bringing their conflicts to you because you never taught them how to, resolve conflicts. Okay? So that's said and done. I want to say this thing. Conflict will always throw us into a circle of pain. Okay? And this is where the juice is. Now, there are two kinds of people. Whenever there's a threat of pain, or whenever there's the issue of conflict arising. Number one person, and I want you to just quickly analyze yourself as I describe this character. Number one person, those ones who shy away from conflict. Oh, these ones, they need a trophy. These ones, they're the ones who run away. In the house, there's fire. The relationship is on fire. But quickly, they take their stuff and run away. They are shy to deal with conflict. This means that they run away and they behave very unconcerned. That is another irritating thing. They behave very unconcerned. They will either withdraw, they will either go into denial, or they will either analyze the issue, wasting time. They're just there seated somewhere in a corner and analyzing. So they're not dealing with this issue head on. They have escaped. They don't want to face it. They're hiding somewhere. So how do they hide? They withdraw. Basically, they go on a mental lock. I think let's just call it mental lock. They withdraw somewhere. Men like to say they go in a cave. They go in the cave and they close that door. And they stay there. Whether they have oxygen or not, they're in that cave. Number two, they go into denial. Basically, they don't want to deal with the idea or the fact that this relationship is going through issue. Now, what this does to the other partner is it creates, Alice, thank you so much. It creates a lot of pain and agony for the person who's on the other end. When you decide you're withdrawing, and probably you're the head of the home, or when you decide you're withdrawing and you're the one who caused this fire, how do you expect the other person to handle the situation? Guys, it is a high time we decided to take responsibility for these issues that are happening in our relationship. We only know how to run to the therapy room when, sorry, I'll use the word, shit hits the fan, and you're there, you're saying, okay, fine, I don't even know how we got in here. If you're here and your work is to withdraw, your work is to go into denial, your work is to waste time analyzing situation, I am telling you, those characters will not help you. You need to change. And for you to change, it's either you sit down with Venus or another counselor, we do coaching, or we sit down and we do therapy so that we can be able to help you to kind of like take a different approach into solving the situation. Number two, there are those who will thrive in it. And I mean thriving, you grow. You know, these are the people who will fight for the marriage. They will defend it with all their might. They're the kind of people, as I said last time, I once asked a couple how they deal with issues, and the guy told me, I'll tickle my wife mpaka she cries. Yani, she just laughs. She was very sad, but when I tickle her, those are some of this is a man who knows how to defend his family. He doesn't want to see his wife suffering. He doesn't want to see his spouse going through issues. The same thing for the women. You don't want to see your husband suffering. So you stand up with all your being, all your might. You're the defender. To you, you're the person, you're the watchman of that marriage. So you fight for it with everything, okay? There are those who will retaliate. There are those who will put a mindset of like, this thing, we must win it. We must win it. And winning it means we still appear as a team to the world. Now, let me say this. Conflict and pain has a way of shaming people, especially when it goes for long without being resolved, guys. So you're there, you're carrying a wound, you are hiding it, you're wearing this nice pretty clothes, then this wound is really, removing, what we call the in Swahili we say usaha, so it's kind of like rotting, yeah. So for us to really address it, even within the counseling room, we will have to address you, as you say. So for you want to cover, you're not interested, you want to present yourself as a perfect person to the world, and you're covering this wound. What happens is it begins to smell. That is what being in denial can do to you. It begins to smell. Oh, you had an issue, you swept it under the carpet, it's bulging. Someone can notice there's a bump in that carpet, and people become interested in seeing what is inside there. Now, what is inside there are two people who are in conflict, two people who are fighting. Now, to the world, you used to be one unit. And when you're coming out as two people who are in a wrestling, whatever, just fighting one another. Let me say this. If you really care about your relationship, if you really want your relationship to go to the next level, you cannot dare sit down and shy away from addressing the issues. The only way for this relationship to keep on growing, karibu nekoye, the only way for this relationship to keep on thriving is to be able to work on issues as they crop up. I want to talk to the women here because we think with our hearts. We are the ones who carry the pain. We keep quiet. A lot of us do not like to come out and talk about issues in the relationship. You see something, you see an issue cropping up, but because you don't want to trigger your man, you don't want to, you're shy, karibu okech, you don't want to, so you're busy there, pet names, but inside you're suffering, you have pain. Now, over time, given a year, you've gone through maybe 10 very serious issues of conflict. You have carried 10 kilos of pain. The next year comes, you're still covering, you're still sweeping things under the carpet. Another 10 kilos. One day, that pain will send you to your grave. And it is a point where I call temporary madness. Have you seen people come on social media and explode? Literally explode, Boniface, I can see you say you used to sweep issues under the carpet. Read about boundaries. Got whipped, baby. Now I don't have a carpet. Yes, I don't want anyone here to have a carpet. Yes, Rita, I don't want anyone here to have a carpet. For us to be able to progress, thank you, Agaflo, for us to be able to progress well, let us learn to see things as they are. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let us learn to see things as they are. You cannot fight what you don't see. That is a fact. You cannot fight what is behind you. For you to be able to really deal with this thing accordingly, you must put it in front of you. Let's stop. Hello, Beatrice. Let's stop hiding things under the carpet. And why do people run? Why do people fight for the relationship? It is important that we know that the people who we are calling as runners, those people who shy away from sorting out issues so that these issues end up being unresolved, are driven by fear of what? Number one, take note, losing the relationship. The people who run away when there's a conflict are afraid. Karibu favored Sese. The people who run away from dealing with relationship issues are scared because they don't want to lose their relationship. And that is us women. You want to just hang around there singing songs of praise and worship. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Okay, sing songs of worship, but God also wants you to act. It is your right to speak out. So when you want to praise the Lord, hallelujah, church, you're giving testimonies and you're burning inside, you're going to go down. You're going to go down. So it's a high time that we also learn that, and I hope you can be able to see why some of us run away. There's the fear of losing relationship. Number two, there's the fear of being hurt. So this is where you put the issues on the side, by the side, and you go to a very different space. Yeah, because you just don't want to be hurt. You're fragile as a person. You're uncomfortable. You're the kind of children who are so pampered that you feel like, no, I cannot, I don't want this uncomfortable space. So you are running, you've gone into a cage, you've hidden there. Okay, for the fear of being hurt. Number three, why people run away and withdraw from issues. Karibu blessed Jano. Why people run away and withdraw from, dealing with issues is because they don't want to also look mean. Okay? So if you're here and if this is you, we need to talk about some things. We need to talk about very meaningful ways of making your relationship work. Again, I say this, guys, and I say with a lot of confidence. There are so many things that we can avoid in life. If we learn to do things the right way, laws are laws. Laws are laws. For example, there's the law of gravity. We know what it says. You cannot defy law. You cannot go against science. So even in relationships, we have laws. And part of the things that we say is that never ever shy away from dealing with issues that have to do with pain, issues that have to do with conflict. You must learn how to deal with them head on. Now, why do we have fighters? People who stand there with, guns, defending the relationship. They're there, they're showing up and they're saying we have to win this. Their mentality is that we cannot go down. This marriage must work. These are the fighters. They show up and they fight for the relationship. Why do they do this? Fighters will come in because they don't want to lose control. They are afraid of not having a grip on that relationship. So their main desire is to make sure that things are stable. And the problem with these guys is that many things are done by their terms. In as much as, yes, they would stand in and defend the relationship, most of these things are done, according to their terms. Why do we have fighters as well? And when I talk about fighters, these are people now who also come in and they defend themselves. They will not shy away and not, these ones, they'll come and talk. They will blurt out words. They will, they will express themselves. The other reason why we have fighters is because they just don't like being treated unfairly. Okay, they don't like being treated, so they'll come out in the open and they'll say, listen, I know my right in this relationship. I know my right, and I'm gonna speak it out unashamedly. You see, these are the fighters that we have in the relationship. Number 3, why fighters are there, why we have people who have that trait, is because they don't like looking weak. Okay, so you know, for the people who shy away, they have their own reason. They don't want to look mean. But these ones, they don't want to look weak. Why should I look weak? I can make it. I have, you know, they feel entitled. They have very, very strong personalities. So they show up and they speak out their minds. But what does God say about fear? Allow me to read the Bible so that we can go on into the next topic. And guys, I said I'm going to make it 30 minutes. I know I'm out of time. We will have a part 2. Listen to what the Bible says about fear. Therefore, Psalms 34 verse 4. I sought the Lord and he answered me. He delivered me from my fears. What I want to say, guys, is that perfect love drives out fear. Can I repeat that statement? Perfect love drives out fear. And someone else will ask me, Vina, so how do you define love? What is love? Initially, when you fall in love, it is a feeling. Guys, we get gelled up, we get bonded, we get, you know, we are so in love. Initially, when you're falling in love with someone, for you to settle with someone, there must be love. That is how God makes you fall in love with someone. Just to be in that space. As you move on, as you progress, love changes. Take note of this. Love moves from being a feeling. The feeling is there, but it is not dominant. Love shifts to becoming a commitment, being intentional, putting in your mind that I am here in this relationship. I am part of a team called a relationship. So when God says perfect love drives out fear, I want to put it across as perfect commitment to your relationship will drive out any fear. Are you getting me? Are you getting me, guys? Now, quickly, let's also read another verse. Today, I'm kind of like spiritual. Let's quickly read another verse, and I'll ask for 5 more minutes. The Ephesians 4:25-32. Therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor. Let's say your neighbor is your husband or your wife. For we are all members of one body. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. I want to pause there. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry. Team 3 months, raise your hands. Those people who go for 3 months without talking each other because you're angry, raise your hands. Those people who go for 1 week, raise your hands. Like, basically, this is a law that God has put forward, This is a law that God has put forward, that we should not let the sun go down when we are angry. So when we are doing 1 week, Ras baby nimekuona. We are doing, hata mimi niko hiyo team. Hey, me, I can also fura, guys. Yes, I can, you know. Yes, as I said, I'm not perfect, okay? So you're doing 1 week, you're doing 2 weeks. What is going on inside your head? Isn't it pain? Aren't you uncomfortable? Hasn't your appetite maybe even gone down? Guys, let me tell you, when God says, you know, you work on this thing, and you make sure by the end of the day it is resolved, it is for a reason. So the Bible says, do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. Do not give the devil a foothold. Favored, I can see you. Pia when ni team ya 1 month. Yes, we are together. You know, we are told when you let the sun go down, when we are angry, we are basically given, we have opened a door, what I call a portal. We've opened a portal for the devil. Now he says, hey guys, he calls his friends, kujeni, here we have an open door. Now we are going to go in here. What we are going to do, and I'll say this in Swahili, tutachafua kweli kweli. We will spoil everything. We are going to bring in the chaos. We will make sure this couple hates each other. They're going to fight each other. They're going to shame each other. Because people were proud. They did not want to solve issues. So read your Bible. It has answers. And I say this, when you read your Bible, act. Act. God says it is faith that must meet actions for the mountain in your life to move. Okay? Then it says, anyone who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with their own hands. They must have something useful to share with those in need. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. Rose karibu. But only what is helpful for building each other up. Okay? According to their needs. That is so that you can benefit. How does letting a conflict go into 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months help you? How is it edifying your partner? The Bible says it's very clear that you should be helpful in building the other person's needs. So how is it that we are so arrogant? We are so selfish and self-centered that we cannot sit and solve conflicts. I find it interesting that someone will say, okay, because she did not make the initiative, I'm not going to make the initiative. Let me say this, guys. I will say this and I'll keep on saying this over and over again. The reason why our relationships are failing, the reason why we are going through vicious cycles of pain is because there's a lot of arrogance. There's lack of knowledge in those relationships. Let us put things out as they are. And mental health says, karibu Isabella ujachelewa, mental health is about knowing what works, what does not work. But mostly, mental health is knowing yourself so well that you know the role that you need to play in that relationship to avoid what? To avoid pain, to avoid conflict. Now, when we decide we are going into relationships when we don't know ourselves, how do you expect the other person who is not a doctor to be able to meet your expectations? He doesn't have a map. She doesn't have a map. How will they love you? How will they love you if you just do not know yourself? Even when it comes to intimacy, guys, you must know yourself so that you can show this partner where they need to touch. Some of us have not even communicated. And please listen to the message on communication. Okay? We have done the second pillar as communication. You're being touched and you're just like a stick. No feelings, no emotion. You're like a stone. Because you never showed the other person. You don't know yourself. Now it's left for the other person to explore you. They will take years before they know, oh, her G-spot is on top of her head. Or his G-spot is on his toenail. You know? So guys, we need to be very, very serious with life. The first and the most important thing is to first know yourself. Even when it comes to pain and conflict. Know how you deal with pain as a person. There are people who will just sit and cry and cry and cry the whole day, which I like. There are people who will, like people who run away. Others will go to the pub. Others will go sit down with other people and gossip. We are all different. But once you're able to know how you deal with pain and conflict in the relationship, it also now helps you to know how you contribute to the relationship. If you're a runner, you'll be able to know, okay, fine. This time you're able to put out boundaries and you say, this time around, I'm not running. I'm going to sit here and we're going to discuss the issue. So self-awareness is very, very important. Now, I want to read this. Get rid of, this is part of the verse I was reading. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, brawling, and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as Christ forgave you. Now, someone will ask you, Venus, someone was asking me, Venus, when you forgive someone, do you have to talk to them? Ebu tell me, guys, just put in the chat box, because Mimi, I can forgive you, but I don't see a need to talk to you, and especially if you're not we are not in a family setup with you, you see. But ideally, when you forgive, you travel light, you know, the weight is easier for you. Now a lot of us can carry, as I said, we carry a lot of pain, so we are damaged, we are dysfunctional, we react to everything and anything. You walk into a room, someone just says one word, and there you go. Tears. People are thinking, oh, hiya, what did we say? Kume, they don't know what has triggered you is your issues, which you came with. They have been piling until someone just said one word that you could relate with, and then you're all over. Okay? These things, let me tell you, are very, very important to take note of. Okay? And as long as you're able to detox your system, as long as you're able to deal and nurse the pain, you will find yourself in very beautiful spaces. You can never give what you don't have. And again, if you're listening to me, na kazi yako is to give others pain. Your work is to induce pain. Your work is to fan conflict. Your work is to, then we know you. We know your type. Basically, what is inside you is the same thing. Pain is the same thing. You're just a trigger of conflict. Someone asked me, by the way, okay, I'll also ask the same question. Where does conflict arise from? And maybe you can post, like, the few times you found yourself in conflict. What made you get into that space? Number one, let us talk about deeply into the relationship, not creating time for each other. So I've talked about self-awareness, and there's also knowing your other person. At what point in time do you get to know the other person if you're not spending time with them? We are so busy pursuing the things of this world. We are so busy running after money. And then one day you wake up, you have an issue, serious issue that cannot be sorted by that money you have. So what's the point? Life is about slowing down, guys. You must slow down. Think of the monks, think of the priests, think of that sister, think of the people who are serving God. They have let go of this vanity stuff that we are always after. There's something beautiful when people slow down and just gather and care for one another. We thrive because of empathy. Now, this thing of people, operating as if they're strangers in homes. Mara, you come in at 9 because you have class. You leave in at 6. Even your own children don't know who you are. They don't even know how you look. The only time they get to see you is at the end of the week, on Saturday and Sunday, of which you still have to attend chamas and you still have to attend so many things. Take the car to the garage. Conflict is a result of tension that comes up because of people not feeling like they're well taken care of, they're well attended to, their emotions are being addressed. So we must learn to schedule time for one another. When we don't feel loved in relationship, it creates a lot of pain that can be avoided if we just scheduled time. You just take one day of the week and you say, for 1 hour, we are going to sit here and we're just going to talk about nothing. Or we're just going to be doing our things, but we are together in one room. Okay? Number 2, distractions. And this, I will say, nomophobia. Nomophobia is the addiction to gadgets. You're either with your laptop. If not your laptop, it's your iPad. If it's not your iPad, you're with your phone. If it's not with your phone, I don't know, you're with what? Like, basically our lives, and me, as I say this, I'm also talking to myself because I have gadgets. Yes, and sometimes I get engrossed in them. Sometimes our lives are just being run by gadgets, such that even when it comes to time to sleep, you're busy on your gadget. Your partner has already prepared themselves. They're there, they're waiting for you. Maybe that's the time you're supposed to be bonding. You're busy on your gadget. It is so shameful. It is so disrespectful. I believe, and there's a time I actually bought a basket, and I used to say, people should put their phones there at a certain time, from 7 to 8, all phones in that basket, so that we can relate with one another. I think people were happier when there were no phones. I don't know, that's my opinion. But now it seems that everything, even our own emotions, are being derived from what we see on social media. So the best way to detox our relationships from going through unnecessary pain and conflict is to deal with the distractions that come our way. Be it those computers, being even work, be it friends. Deal with those distractions and narrow down the attention to your spouse or to your partner. Number 3, emotional availability. I'm talking about presence. I don't believe in having a favored. Yes, ideally, even me, I used to have a TV in my bedroom. One day I woke up, 2 options. I hit that TV with a hammer, it gets out of my bedroom, and that was it. We chose option B, and now I am a very happy person, because that bedroom space is supposed to help you unwind and slowly get into sleep mode. When you have light all over from gadgets, how will you sleep? You're going to go crazy. Okay, so thank you, Favored, for that. Number 3, I was talking about emotional availability, and I mean emotional availability. Hi, Jackie. We are not stones, and I'm speaking for women here. We are not stones, and I know even men have feelings. So if you're not there to touch, to kiss, to, get to know, explore these bodies. Hi, Jackie. How are you? Hi, Medi. How are we going to then grow? How are we going to fulfill what the Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs says? That sex is a basic need. Affirmation, emotional touch, those things are basic. Like, basically, if you can have food, then it means even sex is a need. Okay? So, if you're not emotionally available, you're not present, how will your partner be able to thrive during, sometimes a conflict can be solved by just cuddling. Men, hello? Women, hello? Do you know conflicts can just be solved by holding hands and even saying a prayer? Now, when you're busy running, for the people who are running, you run, Morife, run. You're just running. You're running, Morife. You will find yourself in the mouth of a tiger, because whereas you would have had the opportunity to sort out an issue, you have let it escalate to a point whereby Morife finds himself in the forest. So presence is very important, because it brings in a very important thing: intentionality. Okay, and it helps. And this, as I say, when you're present, you're able to sort out issues. Karibu Blessed, you're able to sort out issues. And guys, let me say this, and I want to, I'll be ending on this note, so that next week now we start from the type of runners. This is a very wide topic, but if you can hang on and keep on, showing up whenever we are having the discussion, I guarantee you your relationship will take a different turn. I'm not a magician, but I know knowledge is power. These things that I'm giving you will save you the extra cash that you have to pay to come and see Venus as an individual, because you need therapy. Okay? There's this syndrome that is in relationships called an eye for an eye syndrome, whereby someone feels they need to give you back what you did. So, okay, you gave me silent treatment, I am going to give you silent treatment. Guys, let me tell you, Mahatma Gandhi, I like Mahatma, because he said an eye for an eye will make the world go blind. Yes. And an eye for an eye in a relationship will make both the couple to go blind. Thank you, Blessed, to go blind. So you don't have to have, if someone is coming with fire, if someone is coming to punch you on your eye, why should you punch him? You need to look at the road where you're traveling. You're a couple. You're going far. Stop punching each other. My wife gives me silent treatment, so I decided now I'll just give her back. You're destroying that marriage. I want to give an example. Take, for example, in fact, I always like to ask people this question. If your partner is mentally ill, and I'm talking about mentally ill, let's say they're narcissism. There's so many personality disorders which are considered as illnesses, mental illnesses. So without knowing your partner is ill, And when they're ill, there's a way they behave. Maybe they have tremors or something. So when they're having those tremors, it is your part. It's like, during those times, they need your help. So they're going into a fit. They're having tremors. And then you, with your lack of wisdom, you're going to lie down there and, you're behaving like them. You're faking tremors. How will that help the other person? You're supposed to use your mind to help this person so that they don't get into a bad or a very difficult space. Some of us have ended up in the pain of relationship because our spouses had their feet. They waited for you to help them. You never showed up and they went and cheated on you because of your arrogance. When someone is in a space and they need your attention, come out and help them. Do your part. That is why you make vows and say, for better, for worse. If you're going to bring in and say, hey, Morife, yeah, he did this, yeah, she did this, I'm going to teach her a lesson. Who is being taught a lesson? You'll be the one to be taught a lesson, let me tell you. And especially when you're dealing with someone who has a personality disorder. Okay, so guys, because of time, and I know today is the beginning of, we're going into a new week. Allow me to please bring this to a close. I am going to arrest this topic. I am going to go into detail. Every week, if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button. We go live every Sunday around 8:30. Okay, depending on my availability. Sometimes I'm not around because I'm traveling. But when you see me here, like now I'm at home, okay? So we're going to be talking more. And if you have questions, my Manspa team has already put my number on the screen. Please just make sure that you reach out. Let me help you clarify. Still, if you're here and you're going through issues that are bigger than what I'm talking about, please reach out. Come and book for a session. I will walk with you the journey. I will support you. Invest in yourself. Sometimes you don't want to pay. I see people coming, oh, Venus, oh, okay. You don't want to pay. What you're going to lose in the end is much more than this small fee that we ask, because as you can see behind me, I invest in buying books. I invest in going to school. I invest in learning so that I can give you quality. Now, how is it that you'd want to come and get free services? It's impossible. It's impossible. Even my Wi-Fi has to be paid for. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is, if you're in a space where you're going through issues, don't die alone. And don't take this issue to gossip circles. We are here as therapists. We operate under oath confidentiality. It means when you come to me, mine is to help you grow, thrive, deal with your challenges in a positive way as you strengthen your mental health. So don't feel shy. Before, and those days, people used to say people who go to counseling, are weak people. Today, that narrative has changed. People who go for sessions, people who seek therapy services are the strongest. And they're the ones who are bound to survive in the future. So that said and done, today I have made it on time. We are just 2 minutes short of the hour. I want to say thank you so much for each one of you who has made the time to come and learn. I hope this, is meaningful to you. You have learned 1 or 2 things. Please don't miss next week's presentation. It's gonna be awesome. And I'm sure most of you will see yourselves as I describe now the type of runners and the type of fighters that are there. That said and done, if you need to reach out to me, please get my number. My Manspa TV has already put it there. Inbox me and we can talk. If you call me and I'm not able to pick, just drop a message. I will definitely get back to you. Otherwise, that said and done, let me wish you a very, very beautiful week. Go out there, shine, work on your mental health. It is the one thing that is going to sustain you in any situation that you may find yourself in. God bless you. Have a beautiful week. Bye-bye.